What's good, everybody? This is your man Jimmy Conway from InstantClassicProductions.com, and I wanted to bring you a little video on Cubase on how to set up your audio interface with Cubase so you can start recording. The first thing you need to do is purchase an audio interface from your local store, internet, wherever you want to get it. If you want, I'll leave a link in the description box of one of the better audio interfaces to get by Universal Audio. But for now, right now, I'm using a Focusrite 8i6 Scarlett. Basically 8 inputs and 6 outputs. That's what I'm going to be using to record into Cubase. And it's a USB audio interface. So basically, when you get your interface, you're going to connect the USB from the interface to your Mac or your PC. Now, if you have a Mac, it should be just plug and play. You shouldn't have to download any drivers. If you're on a PC, you may have to download drivers from the website or get the latest drivers from your website. Once you do that first and then open up Cubase. And Cubase will look like this as a blank screen. To set up the inputs, let's say I want to set up my microphone input to record. I'll go to up here to Cubase, go to devices. I want to go to the device setup first. Over here, you'll see how I have my Scarlett 8i6 USB. Down here, you'll see the input latency and output latency. It's basically 3 milliseconds, which is pretty much unnoticeable. Here's my sample rate, 44,100 kilohertz. And I can set whether I want my audio to be priority as normal or boost the audio priority. All right, if you're using a lot of audio tracks and recording a lot of audio, you might want to boost that. You might want to boost that real quick. But here is where you're going to set your audio interface. Whatever interface you get, it can be by any company. Once you connect it, Cubase will recognize it when you open up Cubase. So you want to select that driver. That's a low latency driver. The next thing you want to do is go to here where it says, whatever your interface says, it'll have the name right under VST Audio Systems. That'll be your interface. That's how you'll control the latency of your sound card or your audio interface. Once you hit your audio interface here, go to Control Panel, and this is where you set your buffer size. That's your latency. That's really low right there. I'm going to probably boost that up to 128. I'll get into that later when you start to record MIDI or you start to record with effects, on your vocals or your guitar tracks or whatever. Okay? So I'm going to just leave it at 128. Hit close. Hit OK. So now my audio card is set up to record. Or my audio card is set up. Now what we want to do is set up the inputs to record. So we're going to go back to devices. We're going to go to connections, VST connections here. Now this is where you set up your input and your outputs for your audio card. Okay? Right now it sets up naturally to the left and right inputs, or the first two inputs on my audio card, which are microphone inputs. They're actually dual inputs, what we call Neutrik inputs, which will take actually microphone and 1/4 inch guitar cable or 1/4 inch keyboard cables. Okay, we'll get into that another day. But right now, it's set up for 2 microphone inputs in the front. All right. What we want to do is when we record vocals in mono. So what we want to do is set up a mono bus to record. We're going to click the Add Bus right here. Now you're going to see the word stereo. You're going to click that. You get different options for if you're doing 5.0 or 5.1 surround sound. Right now we're not doing nothing too crazy. We're just going to set it to mono. And you could give this bus a name. Uh, let's just call it mic 1. And we're going to click add bus. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over here to where it says line 3. We're going to click here. It's going to give you a drop down menu. My microphone is plugged into the first input on my audio interface. So I'm going to pick mic 1. Okay. Now over here is your outputs. Right now it's set up to my first 2 outputs, which are my speakers. My speakers are not on. I'm currently doing this through my headphones. My neighbor's a little bit crazy. So I'm going to just leave that at that. If you had more outputs, let's say you had an audio interface with, let's say, 8 inputs and 8 outputs, you could right-click here and add another stereo bus and add as many stereo buses as you need, or stereo outputs. Same thing with your inputs. My audio interface has 8 inputs. So if I wanted to record, let's say, from the digital SPDIF input, I could go back to add stereo bus, and I can make sure this is set for SPDIF left and SPDIF right. Now I can record from the SPDIF input on the back of my interface. Okay, so now we have our VST connections hooked up. I can record on a microphone channel here, and we're going to X out of here. Now what you want to do is set up an audio track to record onto. Okay, so we're going to right click here. It's going to say add audio track. This audio track is going to be a mono track, okay, because our vocals are going to be mono. So we're just going to put vocal right here. We can set the track name. We'll just name it vocals. Now, whatever name you give it here, it's going to record onto your DAW, okay, or your Cubase. So now, the next thing I want to do is see my levels for my microphone input. So we want to check out the mixer. So we're going to go to devices. We can go mix console. Now right here you see my microphone level. Okay. You don't want it too low and you don't want it too high where it's peaking. All right. You want a nice sweet spot. Right now I'm at a nice sweet spot. It's at, I think, negative 4.6 dB, which is pretty good. And when you record here, this is the input that it's recording onto. This is what's showing me my level. So when I record, I don't clip and I don't overdrive my signal when I record it onto tape. And when I record onto tape, this is my tape right here, or this is my my audio track that I'm going to record onto. So when I mention bus, a bus is just a path that takes your signal from one place to another. So right now I'm taking my vocals, aka my signal. I'm gonna take that bus from the input here. I'm gonna take that bus and route it all the way to the audio channel here. Okay. So when I hit record, up here is your record button, your play button, your stop button, your transport or loop button, your fast forward or go to next marker, or your rewind or go to next marker down. So I'm going to hit record. Check, 1, 2. This is Jimmy Conway from Instant Classic Productions. And this is a take on how to record vocals in Cubase. Here you go. Now I will hit stop. And now it just recorded everything I just did in Cubase. I hope this was informative. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you're a producer, I'll leave you I'll leave you a free drum pack you can download and use inside of Cubase to make beats with. If you're an artist, I'll lay a link that you can get some free beats with. This is your man Jimmy Conway from Instant Classic Productions. One love.